100 bags. That's how much stuff ended up in the dumpster in Goodwill the week my sister and I helped my mom move. It was a crisis downsizing after my stepdad had passed away. That was 100 bags of life, memories, gone in a week because we ran out of time. And if you're watching this, you're probably thinking about downsizing or someone you love is. And here's what I want you to know. This isn't about real estate. It's about the emotional weight nobody talks about before making an actual move. Someone asked me recently, and I'm going to read this. It was, Weldon, we've been in our house for 32 years. We raised our kids here. We know we probably need to downsize eventually, but every time we start to talk about it, one of us shuts down. How do you even begin? Hey, look, that's a great question, and it is very, very common because we're all humans. We have these emotions, and sometimes we don't even know that we have the emotions. So how do you process it? How do you get through it in order to achieve a conceptual goal that you might have? And in this case, 32 years. That's not just a house. That's an identity. And here's what most people miss. The physical move, that's the easy part. The emotional preparation, though, that's where families fall apart, or they come together. Those 100 bags that were in my mom's driveway, that didn't have to happen. If we'd done what I'm about to share with you, we could have been on our timeline instead of 1 week. We could have made decisions instead of actually just reacting. So let me give you the 4 things that I wish someone had told my family before the dumpster showed up. You might have seen the title of this video, and it talks about being 60 and the motions of downsizing after that. And you're looking at me saying, hey, Weldon, I don't think you're quite 60. You're right. I'm not there yet. I'm on the other side of this equation. I was the adult child trying to help my mom, and at times feeling completely helpless to make it better, even though I knew we were moving in the right direction. But since that week in my mom's driveway, I meet with families every single week going through this. Not reactively, not rushed, but strategically. I've seen what works. I've seen where the landmines are. And most importantly, I've watched families who gave themselves time versus families who didn't. The difference isn't just practical, it's emotional, it's relational. And honestly, it changes how you remember this season of your life. That's what I want to share with you today, so that way you can move on your own terms. Now, if you are watching this and you're thinking, I need someone to help me think through this, that's exactly what I do. Head to AskWeldonHobbs.com, book a transition strategy call. It's a free 30-minute discussion, and we're going to figure out together whether you're ready to start, whether you need more time. It's no pressure, just clarity. All right, now let's get into it. So point number 1, and this is identify your trigger and be honest about what's really driving this. Downsizing, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Something triggers the thought process. This might be health. It might be retirement. Maybe the kids moved and suddenly the house just feels too big, too complex. Maybe you're watching your own parents struggle and you're thinking, I don't want that to be me. So the 12 Ds of life transitions, and downsizing is one of them. But here is what matters with downsizing. Downsizing rarely shows up by itself. There's usually another complexity. It has company. Takes a family that I worked with recently, and I share this with their permission. They told me that they wanted to downsize because the house was just too much to maintain. And on the surface level, it makes absolute sense. But when we dug deeper, the real trigger was health. What's the real trigger? Is it the stairs? Is it the yard? Is it the neighborhood, or just something deeper? Something about the next chapter of your life. And here's permission that I want to give you right now. And sometimes just people need to hear this. It's okay if you don't know the right answer right away. This is complicated. You're not just thinking about square footage. You're thinking about identity, where you've been, where you are right now, and where you're going. That's big. That's a huge decision. And it's also about who you've been in the house with and who you're becoming next in the next one. Take your time with this question because it matters. All right, point number 2. Handle the emotional decluttering before the physical decluttering. This is where everyone gets it backwards. And honestly, I understand why. The physical stuff, that feels like actions. You can check it off the box and say, hey, I accomplished something today. You can measure that progress. Look, I cleaned out the garage. That feels good. But when you boil it down, the truth is you're not getting rid of stuff. You're letting go of who you used to be. So take, for instance, and no one would have ever done this, right? The art supplies, look at it in the closet. You never even used them. And it, frankly, is probably just clutter. But in reality, that's a version of yourself that you imagine becoming. The mother of the bride dress, that's not just fabric. That's a memory with an address. Your dad's tools that you inherited. Those aren't just taking up space in the garage. They're connection, their grief, their love. Yes, it's stuff, but here's the secret. You can let go of the item without letting go of the memory. One thing that helps, take photos. Before you donate something sentimental, write a quick note about why it mattered to you. You keep the memory without keeping the physical weight. And here's something else. Give yourself permission to keep a few things that don't make logical sense, and that's okay. Here's a concept to explore. Keep 3 bins of items that you just don't want to part with. Not displayed, not used stuff, just kept because you're not ready yet. And again, it's okay. Maybe you will revisit those in a year. Maybe you won't. But for now, whatever fits in those 3 bins is safe. But don't get smart. Limit the number of bins, okay? There's no rule that says you have to decide everything today. There is a real guilt piece in this too that we need to talk about. We feel bad about letting go of things we spend good money on, but keeping them, that doesn't undo the money spent. And it certainly doesn't bring joy if you're not using it. It's not part of your daily life. And the same with gifts. The actual gift someone gives you isn't just the item. It's the thoughtfulness behind them, how it made you feel. Picking it out, wrapping it, finding the time to present it, that's the real gift. No one wants to burden you with something that you can't use. So let those items go to someone who can actually use them. That's not betrayal, that is completion. All right, the timeline, and this is point 3. Give yourself 12 to 18 months ideally, not 12 to 18 days. This is the mistake that cost my family so much. 1 week. That's all we had. My stepdad passed, and suddenly mom had some financial considerations and needed to reduce complexities immediately. We went from someday we should talk about this to the moving truck is coming Tuesday. We made decisions in hours that deserved months. Here's what 12 to 18 months gives you though. Time to process, time to grieve what you're leaving because yes, you're allowed to grieve a house. Time to sort through decades of belongings without the pressure of a deadline. To make financial decisions, make them strategically instead of reactively to keep more money in your pocket. To not spend the resources, the hard-earned resources, needlessly. And honestly, time to change your mind. Because sometimes you start downsizing and you realize, you know what? Not yet. That's valid. That is allowed. This is your life. Now, when you give yourself time, downsizing transforms from something happening to you into something that you're choosing. That difference is everything. Because here's the truth. When your space finally clears, when the clutter is gone, and you can actually see your home again, something shifts. You can breathe. The space feels lighter. And so do you. But you only get that feeling if you do it on your timeline, not someone else's. And here's point number 4, and this is the 90-day rule for adult children. And why this prevents more family conflict than anything else that I know personally. Here's what happens in most families. Mom and dad, they decide to downsize. Kids get a phone call. Hey, we're cleaning out the house. Come get what you want. And then there's chaos that ensues. Everyone shows up with different expectations. One sibling wants the dining room table. Another sibling assumed that they were getting it. Nobody communicated. Suddenly, you're not talking about furniture. You're actually starting to relitigate things that happened in childhood from the 80s. Look, things just manifest in these situations because tensions are high. Don't laugh too much. I mean, I know I did, but regardless, I've seen this more times than I can count. The 90-day rule, it's simple. Give your adult children 90 days and a clear process. That last part is big, a clear process. Here's how one process could work. Step one would be make an inventory of the significant items. So furniture, heirlooms, emotional value, or things with emotional value. Step two would be share that list with all your children at the same time. And then step three, everyone gets 90 days to indicate what they would want and why it matters to them. And then you move on to step four, which is going to be make decisions as parents with the information in front of you. And then you have step five, which is anything not claimed in that 90 days. You, as the parent, have full permission. Donate, sell, discard. Could this go wrong? You bet it could. Like, we're all humans, and it takes process and keeping things on the rails, if you will. But it could also help you. You would have to decide if this would work for your family dynamics or not, of course. But in my opinion, this is why it works. It removes the ambush. Nobody's making split-second decisions. Everyone has time to think, to communicate, to be honest about what actually matters to them. You've given yourself space to do that. And here's the gift that you end up giving your kids when you do that. You're not burdening them with figuring this out after you're gone. You're making decisions now, together, while you still can have the conversations. That's not just decluttering. That's legacy. That's things that people are remembering about you. It's purposeful decisions with them. And alternatively, you can leave instructions in the will or the trust, but you're not likely to make progress toward your goal. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Downsizing after 60 isn't about getting rid of things, in my opinion. It's about creating space in your home, in your mind, and your life. And that space is for what really matters in this next chapter. It's about finding clarity, peace, even joy in a process that most people dread. You can have a different mindset. You have that option. And when you let go of the physical clutter, you also let go of that emotional weight that you didn't even realize that you were carrying. You make room for the people and the experiences that bring true fulfillment. You reset your priorities. You embrace freedom. Decluttering, it's not just a task. It's a gift that you give yourself to live more intentionally in this stage of life. My question to you is, what's one thing that you could let go of today? And it does not have to be physical. It could be mentally. What decision have you been avoiding? What conversation have you been putting off? And just start there. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, Weldon, what about the financial side? What about the house? Like, that's one of the reasons. Well, I cover that in other videos. There's another one called The 5 Financial Mistakes That People Make When Downsizing and How to Avoid Them. Things like Medicare, IRMA traps, capital gains, timing, and the questions your CPA and estate attorney that you should ask them. It's all right there. And if you want help mapping this out, creating that game plan, not just the real estate piece, but the whole transition, that's what I do. Here's my approach. In phase one, we're going to identify your transition. We're going to map out the challenges that you're likely to face. We're going to separate the facts from the assumptions and create a plan to achieve your goal. That's the strategy piece, and that's what I bring. And then you have phase two. I prepare you for the wealth conversation, the questions to ask your CPA about your tax timing, the concepts to explore with your real estate attorney about ownership and trust. That's strategies that your certified financial planner could be running. If the real estate makes sense, then we move on to phase three, and I connect you with someone tailor-made for your situation. Whether that's my team here in Colorado Springs or a trusted partner from my nationwide network. It's one call, 30 minutes. We figure out together where you are and what you actually need. Head to AskWeldonHobbs.com, book your transition strategy call. Let's build a plan that actually fits your life. I'm Weldon Hobbs. I'm a project management professional, certified financial coach, Air Force Academy graduate, and transition strategist first, real estate professional second. I want to make sure that you are set up for success. Book a call. It's a genuine conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.